I figure that we should do a little more entertainment on this program, even if it's a serious news matter, to try to put a little more entertainment here. Like the other day thing on Potato Head versus Mr. Potato Head, that was something to laugh about. Well, speaking of Potato Head, um, Alex Jones is something we can all agree should be laughed about. To all my progressive allies who took delight on seeing Alex Jones totally deplatformed from all across the board, you have to realize that the entertainment value is not quite the same. And what I mean by that is that not only do I support the First Amendment for people that I disagree with passionately, and Alex Jones is such a person that I disagree with passionately, but with Alex Jones, I mean, he's so over the top that he was comic relief. Always been comic relief to me. I'm like, this guy can't be serious. I mean, I wonder if he's serious or not. But I mean, just some of the stuff is so over the top. I I'm laughing at him more than I am angry at him. And honestly, and I will tell you, as far as right wing talk show hosts, there's a hell of a lot worse. They're out there on the airwaves, on the radio, and on social media than Alex Jones. Yes, I said that, and I'm a person who agrees with Alex Jones next to nothing. I next to nothing. But here's the thing: Alex Jones accidentally it was leaked out into the public what Alex Jones what his thoughts are on Roger Stone and Donald Trump. And I think that maybe he's worthy of a listen. So I'll let you listen to what he has to say. And in the process of letting you listen to what he has to say, I'll try to make some funny faces and do little funny facial gestures or what have you, just to keep you entertained. Get ready. Hold on.
Part of me, the selfish part, wishes I'd never met Donald Trump, wishes that I'd never met Roger Stone, because unlike previous things I'd done that were game-changing, those were just time-space continuum reflections of the third big change I was involved in, and that was bringing Donald John Trump into Austin. So I said it again. I said Austin into office. Because you guys asked really good questions. This is going to be a really good thing, but I'm going to say it again in a minute. Restrict some of our mind after I said it. Because it's the truth. I'm just going to say it, that I wish I never would have met Trump. I wish it never would have happened. And it's not that the attacks that I've been through. I'm so sick of Donald Trump, man. God, I'm sick of him. And I'm not doing this because it's like I'm kissing his. It's just like I'm sick of it.
Okay. All right. First, just gonna let you know about what I think and make a little explanation. And just in case you don't know who this is Huon Head, June Lapine. Yeah, they made a plushie out of her. She's a young lady, about 30 years old. Um, has a wonderful YouTube channel. Huon Head and Brainlet. I'm chances are if you're subscribed and you're a fan of my work, you probably like Huon Head too. Probably better. I wouldn't blame you. She's prettier to look at if you ever take her to look at her on her show. But anyway, let me talk about Alex Jones here. Now, he prides himself on being Mr. Anti-Establishment. It's been his business model since the early 1990s when he got started on this, being on various radio stations, doing documentaries and all that. And while he was always kind of on the right leaning side, it was more of a libertarian strain than it was anything else. And in other words, I could overlook it. I mean, he was a staunch critic of George W. Bush as the governor of Texas, and became a staunch critic of George W. Bush as president. That in itself, I'm willing to say on this one, brother, we're allies because, as you know, if you watch this channel long enough, that I have absolutely nothing but total disdain for George W. Bush and his presidency. So, so he was always anti-establishment, always coming up with one conspiracy theory after the other. Now, it's one thing to sit there and to prop up a conspiracy theory here and there, but one thing that's it's part of his business model, and it's the part that's actually more funny than disturbing. It is kind of disturbing, but it's more funny than anything else that he comes up with one conspiracy after the other. That I know that there's a lot of bad actors in the political arena, and there's a lot of bad actors in the United States and on the world scene. This is nothing new. It's always been, always will be. But the level of evil that he accuses many of these people are is so cartoonish. Um, he was critical of both parties. They're very good. I can understand that. I think that makes you very rational if you look at the two parties and you think they suck. Um, he's anti-war, which again, anti-war, I totally understand and get because the more I live in the last 20 years understanding foreign policy, and it's not my expertise at all, but I have a better understanding of foreign policy now than I used to. And I have a better understanding of Middle Eastern geopolitical conflicts now than I used to have. Doesn't mean that I am 100% an expert, but I have a better understanding, a better focus. And Michael Moore, Alex Jones, Alex Jones has been pretty correct when it comes to all these fucking wars in the Middle East, and George W. Bush and Dick Cheney starting this crap, and it continued under Barack Obama. It continued under Donald Trump, and you bet your Beetle boots it's going to continue more than likely under Joe Biden. No changes, no fundamental changes, as Joe Biden has always said. Um, one little funny episode was about a decade ago with the birth of the Tea Party movement, and talking about his contemporaries was when he was talking about Michael Savage, and and this was one of the last moments, maybe, that and Occupy Wall Street, where Alex Jones was halfway sensible. I remember he was like, you got Michael Savage. And during the Bush years, he was on the side of tyranny, and I was on the side of liberty. And now that Obama's president, we're both on the side of liberty. But the thing about it is that when Sarah Palin defeats Barack Obama in 2012, he's going to be on the side of tyranny again. While I'll always be consistently on the side of liberty. I mean that's the kind of thing that Alex Jones would do, and I was just like, just whether it's frogs turning gay or what have you, all that shit was funny, and during the 2011 2012 time period when Occupy Wall Street was gaining steam, he was one of the few Tea Party voices that was supportive of Occupy Wall Street. Maybe not 100% for the same reason. Some overlap, but there were other things like ending the feds and various some aspects of libertarian economics that kind of maybe overlap with the left that predominated the Occupy Wall Street. So he was actually defending the civil liberties of socialists and lefties too, with the way that the police was incurring violence. I would never expect that from Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Mark Levin or Steven Crowder, even though he's buddy with Steven Crowder lately. I'll get into that in a moment. I would have never expect that from those guys, but he was okay on that. But as soon as Donald Trump announced his candidacy, as soon as he became the nominee, Donald Trump basically made an appearance on InfoWars. And all of a sudden, Alex Jones turned into the biggest sycophant, the biggest cuck. Here I am using the term cuck in the year 2021. The biggest cheerleader for Donald Trump. Nothing he would be doing would be wrong in the eyes of Alex Jones. And he was actually during the last several years, when he was prior to 2016, was a cut above the fray from the other talk show hosts. He decided to jump on board this Trump train, even trying to start a fight with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks at the Republican convention in 2016. And Jimmy Dore gets a lot of shit on a lot of things, but I'm going to give Jimmy Dore a little bit of shit when it comes to Alex Jones. He was wrong to spit water into Alex Jones's face. I thought that was kind of low on his part, but you know what? Alex Jones, in a way, called for it because he decided to troll the set of the Young Turks and to disrupt their program. The ironic thing is that was probably one of the last times I actually was halfway liking the Young Turks. But anyway, there he was, one conspiracy after the other. Even prior to Trump becoming president, with the birther conspiracy theory, claiming that Barack Obama was born in another country, born in Kenya, and it's been settled the man was born in Hawaii. Now he was, claimed that the Sandy Hook gun massacre was a hoax. He was claiming that, and the lives of the family connected with people from the massacre were endangered, and he was making a lot of over the top comments that were bordering on revolutionary violence. And so in 2018, I believe it was in the fall of 2018, that pretty much almost all of social media, other than his InfoWars website, was deplatformed. He basically vanished. Oh, you can go on YouTube and type in Alex Jones's name. I mean, and you'll find him on shows, and you'll find people that'll download his videos and put it up on YouTube and other areas of social media. I mean, he's not totally disappeared, but his channel InfoWars was taken down. Now, I think that all the controversial videos where it's an implied threat or things of that nature, as a bunch of free speech absolutists, I would tell you that don't take down his channels, but take down the channel, maybe the programs or segments where he's implying a threat. Yeah, you don't have a right to threaten people. The First Amendment doesn't protect your right to threaten people, and nor should, for that matter. You have a right to your fucked up ideas and be as loud as you want and as unpleasant as you want, but short of actually threatening people. And he kind of did that. Those videos should have been taken down, but I would not have taken down the entire Alex Jones channel, InfoWars. I just it made the man look like a victim in the eyes of maybe some of the more moderate factions of the right in this country. And so I just thought that was unnecessary. And then of course his role in the January 6th insurrection that took place got him in a little bit of trouble or potential trouble very soon because he was in engaging in an insurrection. And and also, I think that maybe because of all this that's happened in the last 4 years, where his already well established career prior to 2016 went on a went and got an extreme boost in subscription and money coming in and everything. Um, I think that somehow he had a hard time looking himself in the mirror and realizing, man, where did my integrity go? And I'm going to make a prediction that Alex Jones may very well come back to being, being one of those strange people on the right that kind of embrace a paleoconservative or a libertarian worldview in ways that people on the left can kind of relate to at times. I mean, and I think that that's where he's going to go back because I remember in 2007. I mean, I knew people who were TYT InfoWars fans. I literally knew people who were fans of TYT and fans of Alex Jones. I know that sounds very hard to believe, but that was a weird time back then during the Bush Cheney presidency. Probably, I would say about 2005, 2006, all the way till the time Obama was sworn in. The last couple of years of I would say the majority of the second Bush term in office, that what happened was that there was a lot of anti-war protests going on and everything, and there was you saw the business as usual left out there at these protests, but you started to see the Ron Paul supporters and people from the Libertarian Party, and you started to see people who were followers of Pat Buchanan or other people who were more on the paleo-conservative side of the Republican Party, joining up with the left. And I mean, and like for example, Tucker Carlson, for all of his faults, and he's got plenty. Tucker Carlson, I will give him credit, was one of the early critics of the Iraq War. He was one of the first conservatives to say, "Hey, this is not in America's national interest. There are no weapons of mass destruction. It makes no sense whatsoever, and is really a war that's wasting money, and is actually very, very cruel. What we are doing against the Iraqi people, we're not helping the Iraqi people. We're actually harming them." And so there was, as I said, there was, I think, kind of an unspoken alliance between libertarians and certain paleo conservatives with the liberal left, the and the actual left when it came to being opposed to regime change wars abroad. And so, and I sort of remember Alex Jones being part of that anti-war voice. I thought he was a fucking lunatic, but he's correct about what he was saying about George W. Bush and the war across the ocean and the spying, the domestic surveillance programs and the torture that's going on in Guantanamo Bay. And in comparison to what you would hear from Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity or Mark Levin or people of that ilk, yeah, I will admit Alex Jones is a cut above and a little bit better, even though I don't like pretty much still don't like most of the things he has to say. But during the last 4 years, I mean, while he put up the performative um, manner and posture of criticizing Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro getting in my business. I tell you what, boy, I'll get in your business. People who are in my business don't stay in business very long. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I mean, is Alex Jones a better person than Ben Shapiro on policy matters? Yes, but the thing about it is, I mean, I think that that he's got a lot of soul searching when he's out there smoking cigars with Steven Crowder. There's nothing outside about Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder is as much of a movement conservative as they come. Just because I don't know how old, I'm guessing he's a millennial. Just because, yeah, he's a millennial. Now that I remember, now I think about it, just because you come across as an edgy millennial, and honestly, I don't see what's all that edgy about Steven Crowder. To me, he just looked like a stupid jock from high school who is jacked up too much on Rush Limbaugh. That's what he reminds me of. I mean, even in 2016, um, he supported Ted Cruz over Donald Trump. There's nothing edgy about supporting Ted Cruz. So I mean, what's he doing breaking bread and hanging out with Steven Crowder? If you're going to talk smack about Ben Shapiro, you got to naturally talk smack about Steven Crowder because he's just as odious as Ben Shapiro in many ways. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. I thought it was funny and ironic that he's sick and tired of Trump. So we'll see where that all this goes. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment anyway. If you don't quite see eye to eye, feel free to share the content on this channel. Uh, that's a First Amendment absolutist. It's my duty to inform you that if you're passionate about something, create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. And I say this, I say democratic socialist. Peace. Class struggle yesterday, today, tomorrow, until we have full economic and social justice for all.